Jan friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the CHANAKYA Dialogues English. You know, the West is very keen because of their irrational hatred towards Russia. They want to make it a David and Goliath story, and obviously Zelensky is David and Putin is the bad Goliath, But they should be explained in presence of a lawyer that you are receiving money from a terrorist. Your cousin brother is a terrorist. Please do not take money. Jan friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the CHANAKYA Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Much is happening between India and Canada, and India is not lifting its foot from the accelerator. This whole vehicle, if you compare the relationship between Canada and India to a vehicle which is going downhill, it's going downhill very, very fast. Now, there are various sounds of reason coming from Canada all of a sudden, and they're coming from Justin Trudeau's cabinet. But before that, there's a very interesting story that I'd like to discuss with you. Apparently, Justin Trudeau loves Nazis. Justin Trudeau loves fascists. Justin Trudeau is a fan of Adolf Hitler. And let me tell you the story. So, here is the story. Trudeau met and honored a veteran of the 14th Waffen Grenadier Division of the SS, a Nazi division, during the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's visit to Canada. Now, this 98-year-old veteran, his name was Yaroslav Hunka, and he was recognized as a Ukrainian hero before the Canadian Parliament. So everybody got up, everybody clapped, and they said that, wow, what a guy, yaar. What a guy, what a brave man, he's a Ukrainian hero. And Ukraine is the flavor of the season in the West. We know Zelensky is a crook, okay? We know that this guy has accepted bribes from all and sundry, and he's a corrupt man. But, the West is very keen because of their irrational hatred towards Russia. They want to make it a David and Goliath story. And obviously, Zelensky is David and Putin is the bad Goliath, And this is a small little guy fighting the bad superpower, which is Russia. And this is the narrative that people want to give out. The truth is somewhat different. Now, Zelensky's very close pal, his best pal, Justin Trudeau, invites to the Canadian Parliament a man called Yaroslav Hunka, who is Ukrainian in origin, but during the Second World War, this is before 1945. Before 1945, he was of the 14th Waffen Grenadier Division of the SS. SS were crack troops of the Nazi forces. Germany, the crack troops. I mean, they were the most beloved of Adolf Hitler, and they got better rations, they got better uniform, they got better pay, they had more facilities, more access to funds. And SS were the elite troops of the German war machine. And this man belonged to that elite unit. And in the SS, they used to say that they would check their ancestry before a person could join the SS. And no physical imperfection was allowed in the SS. And I've heard stories about the SS of the then German army, that anybody who had a broken tooth could not join the SS. Anybody who was not pure Aryan bloodline, anybody who was not pure German, if you were quote unquote contaminated with some other blood, quote unquote contaminated, that is the low level of thinking that those guys had, And they said that you could not join the SS. So pure-bred Aryan warriors comprised of the SS, and this guy was as pure as they got. His name is Yaroslav Hunka. He's 98 years of age. And now, when Justin Trudeau started honoring this guy on the floor of the Canadian Parliament, Canadian-based human rights group Friends of Simon Wiesenthal Centre, FSWC, voiced outrage on X, earlier Twitter, stating that it was appalled that Canada's Parliament gave a standing ovation to a Ukrainian veteran who served in the Nazi military unit during the Second World War, implicated in the mass murder of Jews and others. So obviously, Simon Wiesenthal, as you can see, is a Jewish name, and this is a human rights group. And they said that they were absolutely appalled that here is the Prime Minister of Canada saying, hey, wow, this Nazi is a hero. And let's celebrate this Nazi and let's publicly honor him. So, ladies and gentlemen, the leader of the opposition, Pierre Poilievre, also took to social media and demanded an apology from the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. And the House Speaker, Anthony Rota, apologized to the Jewish community. Now, here is the catch. The catch is this, ladies and gentlemen, that, somebody kills a terrorist called Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Somebody kills. Justin Trudeau has no conclusive proof. He opens his mouth in this very parliament in which he's seen honoring a Nazi war criminal, okay? This Nazi war criminal, apparently Justin Trudeau thinks that it's a great idea and Nazis were great people. So, what has actually happened is that Justin Trudeau knows exactly who killed Niger. He says, oh, the Indian government, it must have done something and all that. We have very strong reasons to believe But he does not know that in Canada, a Nazi war criminal has been living for all those years. He does not know that he's honoring a Nazi war criminal on the floor of the Canadian Parliament. He doesn't know all of that. But he knows who killed Niger. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the IQ of the Canadian Prime Minister. You don't get dumber than that. How can you honor a Nazi? Honoring a Nazi is like honoring Satan himself, You may as well, get Satan down from hell and say that we honor you because we look up to you or some such nonsense. How can you do that? You're honoring a Nazi, for heaven's sake. Now, this is what Justin Trudeau has done. This guy has no idea that standing next to him is a Nazi war criminal on the floor of the Canadian Parliament, being publicly honored and feted by the top cream of Canadian polity. He does not know that. But he knows who killed Niger. Talk about priorities. All right. In another news, we have the Canadian Defence Minister calling ties with India important. Now, there is a mix and match reaction coming from Canada, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important to understand what's going on because now they're playing good guy, good cop, bad cop, etc. So, largely, Justin Trudeau is keeping shut. He's not making frequent public comments. He's keeping a slightly low profile. And now we have the Canadian Defence Minister slowly speaking about what seems like wanting to compromise. It's not a full-fledged want of a compromise, but there is that hint of a reach out. And I'll tell you, I'll analyze the statement. So, his name is Bill Blair and he's the Canadian Defence Minister. And he says that we acknowledge the significance of Canada's relationship with India. So, he's saying that we acknowledge the significance of Canada's relationship with India. He said that though the situation has posed challenges, the relation remains important. So, he says that the relationship between Canada and India is important, though there could be a few challenges. He said, we understand that this can be and has proven to be a challenging issue with respect to our relationship with India, but at the same time, we have the responsibility to defend the law, defend our citizens, and at the same time, make sure we conduct a thorough investigation and get to the truth. Which means that they don't have the truth and they have not conducted a thorough investigation. So my question to the Canadian Parliament is, why did you or your Prime Minister open his mouth? Your Defence Minister is saying, we need to conduct a thorough investigation and get to the truth. You blamed the Republic of India for an assassination on Canadian soil without a thorough investigation, without knowing the truth. You had no conclusive proof. If you simply suspected, you could have had behind the curtain talks. You could have had secret talks. You could have involved the US. You could have involved France. And you could have said, hey, we don't have proof, but we have reason to believe that maybe India has done this, and we need to talk to the Indians and sort it out. But no, Justin Trudeau was slapped by the Chinese. What the Chinese did was, the Chinese actively interfered with Canadian elections. The Chinese paid off members of Justin Trudeau's party for contracts or whatever the Chinese wanted. Now, the problem here is that when this came to light, Justin Trudeau tried to shut her up. He tried to put a lid on it, but it blew out of proportion in the Canadian media, and it came to be known to all that, Justin Trudeau is doing nothing about the Chinese interference in the elections. He just kept quiet. He refused to do anything. He got cold feet. And people said that, what kind of a Prime Minister are you? You're not able to talk to the Chinese. You're not able to ensure that our sovereignty is inviolate. So when this happened, this Niger incident happened, this is the time when he got all hyper and active and he said, no, I'm actually a strong guy and I'm not a weak, defenseless, person who has got no spine at all. No. I'm a strong guy. I'm a strong Prime Minister and look how I hit back. Unfortunately, he hit back at the wrong country because we have done nothing wrong. He should have hit back at China. He did not do that. He tried to hit back at India and it failed because there is nothing to hit back at. I would request Justin Trudeau, sir, Sir, if you have the proof against India, please put it up on the internet, make it public. Don't get into diplomatic niceties because you did not bother about diplomacy. When you thought you had proof, you went to the floor of the Canadian Parliament and you started screaming. Now, please don't bother sharing proof with us. We don't want your proof. What we want is, whatever you have, whatever you call proof, just put it out on the internet. Just put it out on the internet. Just give it to all the countries. Call all the members. You know, I'm sure Canada has all the high commissions and Canada has all the embassies of all the countries, right? Close to 150, 160 countries, 170 countries. Though there are close to 200 countries, but at least 60, 70 countries, 160 or 70 would be having their embassies and high commissions in Ontario. Please call everybody, give them the folder and say, hey, India is carrying out political assassinations inside my country and here is the proof. Do it. Do it. And if you cannot do it, shut up and hold your peace. Because it does not behove the Prime Minister of a country like Canada to be shooting when there is no target. It does not behove you, sir. Coming back to India on this very important topic of Khalistan, ladies and gentlemen, NIA is seizing the properties of more than 19 Khalistani extremists, terrorists. Now, you know they've already seized the property of this guy, Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. Two properties, one near Amritsar and one near the Tri-City, I think Panchkula or Mohali or Chandigarh, one of these areas. So they've seized 2-3 properties here, and they've also seized the property of the dead terrorist Nijar. 18 more are in the pipeline. And this is extremely important. I have been saying this for a very long time. Either demolish their properties or just take their properties and sell it off or give it to people. There are so many brave people of Punjab who are serving in the Indian Army. And I think what we should do is Nijar's property should go to a war hero. It should go to somebody from the armed forces, a soldier who has done his country proud. And maybe that will purify the place. The presence of a soldier will purify, all the dirt and all the filth that Nijar and, Pannu have brought to that house. The presence of a soldier will purify all of that. And we should do that. We should honor our soldiers by doing this. Simply honoring words is not enough. We should give them this property. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what it is. The NIA is now chasing down these guys. And there is another news, very interesting news that has come up, is that the Indian government is mulling over the fact that should we cancel their overseas citizens of India OCI cards? Should we cancel them? I think this is the right step to take, ladies and gentlemen. For the past few months, I've been extremely vocal about this. Their NRI status, their OCI cards, whatever they have, it should go. And I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, why this is important. Without being in touch with Indian Punjab, the Khalistani movement, quote unquote, whatever that movement is, that nonsense, it will cease to exist. It is Indian Punjab from where they get the oxygen. And what do I mean by oxygen? Allow me to amplify. They want to create Khalistan in Indian Punjab. Suddenly, the government of India makes some changes in some rules, and these guys are unable to come to Indian Punjab. They're welcome to make their Khalistan in Canada or whichever, near London, someplace, or in the US or Australia, in the outbacks of Australia with the kangaroos. And they're welcome to put a kangaroo on their flag. I'm saying that these guys want to make Khalistan, but they're not being allowed to come to India. So when you say that, okay, we are not giving visas, your OIC status is cancelled, all your property goes, okay, you are no longer allowed to own property in India. It is being attached by the government of India. Now the government is the owner of this property. And as a next step, what should be done is that they have relatives in India. Okay, all these terrorists. Whenever these terrorists call up the relatives or try to send money, you should get the relatives to the police station and gently guide them because they would not know. So no point in harassing the relatives, but they should be explained in presence of a lawyer that you are receiving money from a terrorist. Your cousin brother is a terrorist. Please do not take money from a terrorist, and take an undertaking from them, an undertaking from all these guys that, you will not accept money from this person because this person is a terrorist and what you're receiving is terror money. I'm not talking about filing cases against the relatives because they would not know so much. Maybe they're living in some village and maybe those guys are innocent. And we have nothing on them or nothing against them. But there should be counseling by legal people, the police fraternity, somebody should go and counsel them. Cut off the money trail, cut off the communication trail, cut off the going and meeting and coming back, the marriages, everything. Any sort of contact, direct or indirect, with India must be absolutely finished. Also, the government should invite all the music companies. I think it's very important. The Home Ministry should invite all the music companies, the big music companies. It should invite members from Netflix or from Amazon Prime, from all this thing, and big entertainment companies, you know, event management companies. Call 100, 200 of them to Delhi. There is a meeting. Give them a complete rundown on every Khalistani performer. This is Jazzy B. This is what he has done. These are his statements. This is from his Instagram. This is from his Twitter. This is from his Facebook. This is the meaning of his song's lyrics. This is what it is. Hardcore. Born here, citizen of this country. This is what she says against India. This is how she has helped Khalistani terrorists by giving them money on this date. Explain to them, give them a 2-3 hour long presentation, have a question and answer session with everybody, and tell the 100 top guys in India who get all these, you know, these concerts and all that, who organize for concerts. Give them a detailed briefing with proof, because they're also citizens of India, and we can't pass an arbitrary order that, you know, don't do this from tomorrow. That's one part of it, but that's not. They have to be. You have to convince them. You have to get them in a room. You have to tell them that, boss, these people are working against the country. They are funding terror. Whether it's AP Dhillon, whether it's Shubhs, whether it's any XYZ singer. And all these people, you know, these fans of these so-called singers, these masters of autotune, all these fans try to spam my box and say that, no, you've got it all wrong. To the fans of Shubhs and to the fans of AP Dhillon who've been trying to get abusive, I have only one thing to say: shut up. You're a child, behave like a child, right? Don't get into this game of playing with the adults. You are siding with Khalistanis. Don't do that. It's not about being national or anti-national. They are funding terrorists. This national, anti-national, we can't call them anti-nationals because they are not Indian nationals in the first place. So how can we call them nationals or anti-nationals? They are Canadian citizens. They are UK citizens. The problem is that we give them money and they pass on that money to terrorists. So please don't say that. A guy wrote to me, I was very surprised. I'm 19 years old and I'm a big fan of Shubhs, and Major, I just want to tell you that I think you've understood this all wrong, and you know, he's a great guy, and you know, you must listen. This kid is trying to convince me, and I politely informed the child, because he's a 19-year-old child, and I informed him that, son, you don't know what's going on, and this is what is going on. And after that, he said nothing. So I just want to tell all these fans, you're supporting terrorism. Let me be very blunt about it. You, by supporting all these guys, you're supporting terrorism. Okay? Because they have not apologized for their act. How many of these so-called Khalistani singers who support and who have Khalistani lyrics and who have Bhindra Wale posters in their songs, so all these singers, how many of them have actually condemned the statement of Gurpatwant Singh Pannu that Hindus should be thrown out of Canada or should leave Canada? How many of them have gone public and said that, Pannu, you should be ashamed of yourself? How can you say that? The problem is that when their concerts are cancelled, that is the time when Shubh says, peace, man, and love for mankind. And AP Dhillon says that, no, we should not let hatred. It is people like AP Dhillon and Shubhs who are perpetrating hatred, because they refuse to condemn what these thieves, robbers, and terrorists, these Khalistanis, do. I want an unequivocal condemnation from AP Dhillon and Shubhs. I want it. I want it on record. Will you do it? Of course you will not do it. Will you condemn the Khalistanis? Will you condemn the Khalistanis? You will not do it. You will not do it. And why am I asking you to condemn the Khalistanis? Now you'll play the victim card and say, no, you are against Punjabis and you are against Sikhs. No. I am not talking only about Shubhs and AP Dhillon. I am saying that all these Khalistani singers, and I call them Khalistani because they have this grand imagery of Jarnail Singh Bhindra Wale. If your video has the photograph of Jarnail Singh Bhindra Wale, you are a bona fide Khalistani and you are against India. You can say, I love this country, this is my country. I don't care. What is Bhindra Wale doing in your video? Whoever, I'm not talking about Shubhs or AP Dhillon. Anybody. What is Bhindra Wale doing in your video? Is Bhindra Wale artist, small-time artist, that he'll dance in the background in an item number, that you put Bhindrawale there. What does Bhindrawale do? He was a terrorist. He was killed. End of story. Stop worshipping terrorists. I'm not going to say anti-national because you're not Indian nationals at all. So you can't be called anti-nationals, but you're stupid and you're greedy. And you think that by catering to the baser instincts of this so-called separatism, you'll have a bigger fan club. So sorry. So sorry. It's not going to happen. There are many people like me in India who do not like all this. You're welcome to come to India. You say this is your country? Yes, of course, it's your country. But you can't wear the tricolor on your shoe. There are going to be repercussions. And those repercussions will be financial in nature. Because to hit you financially is the best thing. To make you lose money. That is what's going to happen. So you better realize where your loyalties lie. You cannot insult India, have a fake map, right? And then post that fake map on Instagram and then expect, and then play the victim card, Punjabi, non-Punjabi, Sikh. It's got nothing to do with Punjabis or Sikhs. It has got everything to do with your bad geography. Don't share maps that you think Pakistan will love. Otherwise, go and perform in Pakistan. Let's see how many Lahoris come out and pay money to watch you. And lastly, behave yourself. So ladies and gentlemen, I now come to the question and answer sessions, and unfortunately what I have are mostly comments. I would request you for questions actually. It's more fun to answer your questions, it's more engaging, it's more to and fro. So this is my request to you. The first one is from Rao Suresh and he says, I do agree with your elaborative piece on the present imbroglio between Bharat and Canada. It gives a sense of bonhomie to know that Bharat has handled this thorny issue with great care and deftness. On the face of the decision of the GUI to be forthrightly aggressive would appear to be a knee-jerk reaction. But with what Major Saab explained being the underlying causes thereof, it now seems to be cogently dealt with. Okay, thank you. Rao Sureshji, I would like to say that people understand power. Decency, I have started now believing that decency is not respected. If you're too decent, people will mistake your decency for weakness. If Canada knows that India can cause Canada immense harm, financially and diplomatically, Canada will come around. You see, we did not do anything. The government of India, we did nothing. Absolutely nothing. We had no hand in killing Niger. And yet, you know what the Canadians said, what the Canadian Prime Minister said, oh, the Indians have killed Niger. He had no proof. Now they're saying we're looking for proof. That fool should have first got proof, conclusive proof, and then opened his mouth. But he did not do that. He first opened his mouth and now he's looking for proof. But when the Chinese openly interfered with the Canadian elections, this guy kept quiet. You know why? Because they fear China. They fear China. They know that if you open your mouth against China, China will make Canada's life so miserable. It will make Canada's life so miserable that the Canadians are going to burn their passport and shift to Congo. They know that. Strength is respected. I'm not a huge Chinese fan. Not at all. I don't like China pretty much. But let me tell you one thing. This is the way you deal with the government of Canada. You deal from a position of strength. Then they will realize. Otherwise, they've given away their land to Khalistanis. Khalistanis have training camps in Canada. Why shouldn't, I ask you, why shouldn't Canada be under FATF? And the Pakistanis, why don't they ask Canada? The Pakistanis should ask the world bodies. We supported, when Pakistan supported terrorism, when Pakistan gave money or financial support to terrorists, for years and years, Pakistan was put on the grey list of FATF. Canada is doing exactly the same. Why is Canada not being put on the FATF grey list? Why? They should be in the FATF grey list. User SF3DJ9IS8H. Boss, come on, have a heart. Can I just have a name, please? I'll be very grateful for a name. India should cancel all OIC cards to Canadians, not to all Canadians, to Khalistanis. There are Hindus, there are Muslims, there are Sikhs, there are Christians, without any discrimination on caste, religion, creed, color, ethnicity, or orientation. Everybody is welcome in India. But Khalistanis are scum. The Khalistanis are neither Hindu, nor Muslim, nor Sikhs, nor Christians. They don't belong to any religion. Khalistanis are vermin and they should be treated as such. Pradeep Kumar says, I don't understand if somebody raised a question on Bharat, why we first start think as Punjabi, Hindu or Muslim. We should only think as Indian first. Well said, Gaurav said that everybody gives sacrifices for the country and no one need to prove anything and no one asking to do so. Jai Hind. No, absolutely, Pradeep Kumarji, I agree with you. There is no Punjabi, non-Punjabi, Sikh, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, nothing like this. This is all, these are separate identities, but all of them under the great umbrella of Mother India or Ma Bharati, as we say. And there should be no discrimination, there should be no discord. I agree with you. And I salute your question, very brilliantly put. I agree with you and I salute your question. So ladies and gentlemen, with that we come to the end of today's episode. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.